And welcome. We're going to get started. Thank you so much for listening in. In today's webinar, we'll be talking about collecting field data using SILStat. SILStat is our life event recording and monitoring tool. I'm going to give you an overview of the tool first, and then I'll walk you through a quick demonstration. Just a few notes before we get started. Please enable your speakers so that you can hear me and mute your microphone. Also, do not hesitate to ask questions during the webinar. There should be a Q&A tab at the top of your screen. Please use that to type any questions you have, and I will answer them as best as I can. My name is Kate Hildenbrandt. I am new to Exoda. I began my role as sales engineer in late August. Previously, I had spent 7 years in the gases and chemicals industry in various roles. Here at Exoda, I will focus on providing training and application support for our customers using Exoda, SILStat, and our other tools. A few notes on Exoda. We were founded in 1999, and we have offices around the world. We do have many products taking you through the entire safety life cycle. So a quick overview, we have a process hazard analysis and a layer of protection analysis tool, a SIL selection tool, a process SRS tool, as well as a SIL verification tool, alarm rationalization tool, and a design SRS tool. That will take you through the analysis and realization phase of the safety life cycle. Finally, for the operation phase, we have SILStat, which we're talking about today. All of these tools together create a suite that seamlessly integrates your information from one step to the next. In addition to our tools, we have many services that Exoda provides. We do consulting on process safety, control system security, alarm rationalization, and process safety management. We also do product certification, we do training, we have many reference materials. We like to share everything we know. So we have published books, we have the Safety Equipment Reliability Handbook, which has all the failure rate data you would need to do your conceptual design of your safety instrumented system. And we also have professional certification. So if you want to be a CFSC or a CFSP, you can come to us and do that. So today I'll discuss the challenges we face trying to implement the operation and maintenance phase of the safety life cycle and how SILStat can help you do this. You may find yourself wondering, how can the operational phase of the safety life cycle even be implemented? This is because there's a lack of emphasis on the operational phase in the safety standard. The analysis phase has your process hazard analysis, your layer of protection analysis, your SIL selection, and the realization phase has your SIL verification. But what must be done in the operation and maintenance phase once your site is up and running? We know what the safety standard requires. They want you to demonstrate compliance with safety standards by collecting data during the life of your plant and comparing it to your conceptual design. You can do this by recording proof test results, recording field failures, and process demands. And as of the 2016 revision of the standard, you have to perform a functional safety assessment after gaining experience in operation and maintenance of your system. So this is stage 4 of the safety life cycle for those in the know. And you can't do this without collecting your data. But how do you go about it? It seems like there's a lot of data to collect. And you may also ask, is collecting data enough? What data should be collected? What will you do with the data? How exactly does the data apply to your site? For example, if we detect no failures with transmitter X during the first year, does this mean the failure rate is 0? You may also want to know how you compare with others in the industry and how your safety culture compares to other sites. Some of this might seem trivial at first, but over time you may find huge differences from site to site, even within the same company. Although it may seem tedious to record each event, even if it's an easy fix, it creates a larger awareness of the types of failures you are dealing with, helping you to pinpoint larger problems at your site. You may also wonder, does the industry average data apply to you? And this is a good question because you make assumptions during the layer of protection analysis and the SIL verification using this industry average data. It's possible that failure rates at your site are worse than or better than the industry average. So how will you know if you do not keep track of what is going on at your site? This is where SILStat can help you. SILStat captures key operational and maintenance data such as your equipment failures, process demands, failure of your IPLs. It keeps track of your proof test results and your mandatory maintenance activities. This data can be used for review and analysis as required by the safety standards. This tool has been on the market for a while. We have done some pilot projects with it, and it is used at locations around the world, which is very exciting. It allows our customers to bring the safety life cycle full circle. So what is our main goal here? Our main goal is to find problem areas at your site. SILStat allows you to isolate the conditions that could contribute to the problem. So it keeps track of specific devices as well as their locations and other devices of the same type. The benefit here is that you find the problem spots so that you can reduce trips and increase your uptime. You also want to compare actual performance with assumed performance. So in your analysis phase and your realization phase, you assume a lot of failure rates. And this helps you to determine the risk reduction that you put into your site. However, after collecting some data, you may find a couple things out. Perhaps your risk reduction is adequate. This is great. You can continue to collect data in this case, and it will further prove that your safety system is on point. You might also find that your risk reduction is inadequate. This is the worst case scenario. The hazard risk is higher than you expected. In this case, you have to return to the analysis phase for redesign and implementation. On the other hand, you might find that the risk reduction is more than adequate. This means your system is over-designed to prevent the hazard. This information will help you the next time you analyze your next system, and in the end, it will save you money. SILStat also allows you to combine data from multiple sites. So the more data you have, the closer you'll be to your actual failure rate. SILStat allows you to collect the data from multiple sites onto one server. So you can log in, see how you're comparing to other sites, and again, have more information so that when you design your next system, you are armed with actual failure rate data. Also of note, as part of the annual maintenance cost, you can have an Exoda employee review your data and give you feedback. This can help you apply your data to your site as well as see how you measure up to others in the industry. So if you're wondering, I've collected all this data, I don't know what to do with it, Exoda will be there to help you. And now I'm going to walk you through how the tool works. As I mentioned earlier, in SILStat we keep track of a device, other devices of that type, and the device location, which we call the address in SILStat. We also keep track of possible hazard scenarios and their IPLs. This information can be input by the user, or it can be imported from Exoda. So if you're already an Exoda user, this is extremely easy. And if you plan to use it in the future, it may save you a lot of time, perhaps some money. But again, regardless of how you input the data, the tool is extremely helpful. Also in SILStat, we can set up a proof test to walk the user through the test. So you can define the steps that are needed to perform the proof test, and you can also define the pass-fail criteria. This makes it very easy for the proof test recorder to simply walk into the plant, perform the test, record the data, and then the tool itself will tell you if it passed or failed. And then, of course, that proof test is saved in the database. Here's a screenshot of the proof test generator. As you can see, steps 1, 2, 3, 4 are defined by the user. You can define the data point you expect and then the tolerance limits. So if you're inside the tolerance limits, you've passed, and outside, you've failed. So once everything is set up in your tool, SILStat makes it exceedingly easy to record your proof tests, your maintenance tasks, and your process demands. Once a proof test is defined, it is a simple process to perform the test, as I said, with pass-fail criteria already programmed in. The recorder must simply follow the instructions step by step, entering the results along the way. Here is a screenshot of the proof test recording. So again, you see the same steps, but in this case, you simply enter the field value. It will turn green if you've passed and red if you've failed. Then you can add some comments at the bottom. You can save the proof test and refer to it later on. Maintenance events are easy to record as well. So in this case, you simply locate the address of the device in the SILStat plant hierarchy. You select the maintenance task that you want to record. So some maintenance tasks are also predefined, and some aren't. So you can also input that as the user. You can record the cause of the maintenance if it's not routine, and you can record any comments to help with communication between the people working at your site. So here's a look at the maintenance task recording. Remember that during the SIL verification, you define proof tests and scheduled maintenance that is mandatory to achieve your selected safety integrity level. So you have to follow up with that in order to honor your conceptual design and keep your plant safe. As I mentioned before, process demands can also be recorded. This helps determine which IPLs helped, which IPLs failed, and what is the frequency of that hazard scenario. So again, just in case, an IPL is an independent protection layer, and you can set them up in SILStat in the order you expect them to respond to the hazard. When you have to record your process demand, you simply select which one was successful. Again, this will turn that independent protection layer green. So as you can see in this screenshot, the BPCS 101 loop was successful in the first case, which is great. That's your first IPL. However, if your third IPL, the PSV 101, is successful, then it automatically counts the other two as failing. This is very helpful not only for your IPLs, but also, again, to see the frequency of that process demand. This is another data point that is used in the analysis phase, and you can back it up with this data recording. SILStat also has an event viewer. So this is where all your data is collected. You can see everything in here from the proof test, the process demand, and the maintenance tasks. You can also organize it however you like, so it can be referred to in the future. You can also do reporting out of SILStat, so any proof tests due, any proof tests overdue, you can generate a report that will basically communicate the status of your site and your safety activities. SILStat has a nice dashboard. When I open it up later, this will be the first thing you see, and it gives you upcoming and overdue tasks at a glance. So you can see, again, the status of your safety activities at your site. It also has some site statistics. And again, if you are able to have multiple sites filter into this, these statistics can be very helpful. I want to remind everyone to record all failures. What I mean by this is you want to record both random failures and systematic failures. So the safety standard suggests that only random failures need to be recorded. But we have found that identification of random versus systematic failures is somewhat open to interpretation. For more info on this topic, please read the white paper I have linked here. We hope to avoid dangerous omission of any failures. So how can I sum this up? If you use SILStat, the tool benefits you by saving you time and money, in this case by exporting information from Exoda, automatically setting up your plant hierarchy. So this allows for rapid deployment of SILStat, low initial expense right out of the box. In addition, it helps validate assumptions made during your design phase of your safety instrumented system. So again, in your design phase, you assume demand frequencies, failure rates, and probability of failure on demand. This data can give you site actuals that will make your analysis that much better. It will also help you demonstrate compliance of the functional safety standards, in this case IEC 61511. So by executing proof tests and required maintenance effectively and on time, you are keeping up with the safety of your system and complying with the standard. Exoda has a number of resources to help you get started. We have training classes with Exoda Academy, which provides training courses on the product tools, the methodology behind the tool, and how to apply the product to your specific project. We also have SILStat.com, which has general information on the tool, as well as instructional videos. And as always, we have support.exoda.com. This has many frequently asked questions, and you can enter a support ticket and get someone here very quickly to answer your questions. We do have a special offer with the purchase of SILStat today, and the highlight of this offer is that if you purchase the tool, you will get it on a new Microsoft Surface Pro. We wanted to promote this because the portability of the tablet works really well with this software. We have loaded it onto a Surface Pro ourselves. The Surface Pro one runs Windows just as well as your computer does, but you can take it out into the plant to record your proof tests and do your maintenance activities, and it's right there at your fingertips. We also are providing 1 day of hands-on SILStat training and help from an Exoda professional to define proof tests for 20 SIFs. So right out of the gate, you will have proof tests ready for your site to prove your compliance to the standards and keep up on your safety systems. So does anyone have any questions? I don't see any questions yet, so I'm going to jump straight into the demonstration of the tool. So hopefully on your screen, you see the SILStat dashboard. Again, this is going to show your activities due and your activities overdue. It also has address stats. And here you can also see the list of proof tests and maintenance activities on this side. So the first thing you might do when you get SILStat is go into the plant settings and set up your plant hierarchy. Again, this can be done by importing from Exoda, or it can be user defined. And as you can see, the navigation on the left-hand side of the screen shows you the location, the plant, the unit, and your device. So I've clicked on FS101. I can scroll down here, I can see the tag of this device. I can also configure a proof test. So we have a few predefined proof tests in here. You can select one. You can select the test interval. So let's say we want to do this every 12 months. We put that right there. And let's say we want to do this tomorrow. That will save there. It will remind you on the dashboard when it is due, and you can come in here and record the proof test. You can also assign maintenance activities right here for this device. I'm going to hit save. See the dashboard, and there it is, showing that we have a proof test October 21st, which is tomorrow. Also in plan settings, you can configure your hazard scenarios. Again, it's the same navigation on the left-hand side of the screen. In this case, it shows the hazard scenario. We've named it hazard scenario number 1. And underneath you can see the IPLs listed. They're listed in the order that we expect them to respond to the hazard. However, this can be changed just right here within the tool. Now you want to save that. In SILStat, you can configure your devices. And what's really special about this is we have our safety equipment reliability handbook programmed into this tool. So a lot of this is auto-filled by the information we have there. I can open it up here and I can choose a different device, and it auto-fills the device name, the manufacturer, the model number, and it gives you that useful data, useful life years, and failure rates. You will have to define your serial number, so this is what differentiates this device from identical devices throughout your system. You may also want to enter service date information. So when did you install the device? When did you start keeping track of it through SILStat? That's your surveillance start. And when is it taken out of service? All of this can be configured in the device manager and saved. And finally, you have your proof test generator. This is the Create Procedures button. And here you can see where you name your procedure. So perhaps this proof test will be used for multiple devices. You name your steps. Here you have 6 steps. And then you name what type of input you'd like from the recorder and what is the right answer for a passing test or the wrong answer for a failing test. Finally, once your site is configured in SILStat, you can record these events. So here I'm going to click on Record Events and Process Demand. Once again, you navigate on the left side of your screen to your hazard scenario, and it simply asks you to select which IPL succeeded in mitigating the hazard. So if I select operator intervention, this is great. Your IPL was successful and it was the first IPL. However, if you select SIF 02, it's going to designate the other 2 IPLs as failed. Again, you can put some comments at the bottom. You can save this, and that information will be here to reference at any time. You can also record proof tests and maintenance activities under the Record Activity button. So you'll simply select your activity, hit Start, and you can record the proof test again. You simply input the data. It will tell you if you pass or failed. For the maintenance activity, you'll put in why you're doing it. Is it routine? Is it not? And finally, you can record your device failure. So you can navigate through here to any device. If it failed, you want to state that so you have that for future use. With enough data, you can hone in on your actual failure rate. Under the Configuration tab, we have the Device Model Editor. This is your Safety Equipment Reliability Handbook data. You can see how extensive it is. You can organize to see just sensors, final elements, or certain equipment types, valves, solenoids. And this is basically your library. You have access to all this information, whether you want to look at it here or by looking at each device in your plant settings. And finally, with the Procedure Event Viewer, you can view all of your proof tests, whether they passed or failed, etc. With your Event Viewer on the other side, you can view every single thing that has been done at the plant. So that includes proof tests, it includes maintenance activities, and process demands, device failures. This is where all your data is. You can organize it any way you like, filter it to use it in the future for future analysis or to prove that your plant is safety compliant. So that is SILStat in a nutshell.